This thing sounds like a little truck the way it starts up. Probably one of the smoothest starting side-by-sides I've been in. I do like this little infotainment system. And you can see if you actually get this with the cab, how you would have vents and stuff here. Your storage up in this. But we're gonna pull this over and compare this to the Ranger. Kind of give you guys an idea. Seats are nice, isn't it? All right, so I wanted to show you guys this today. This is my first look at the Kawasaki Ridge, and this is a very, very clean unit. I really do like how a lot of things are on it and how it's set up. You can see the color scheme around it. This is the Ranch edition, so it has a little bit nicer seats. These are very, very comfortable, but they're bench style seats in comparison to things like an Expedition or a Razor. I love that they've got this in here. They, got that from Can-Am, but this is a feature that all of them should have from the factory. Looks like they've got some storage, and under the seat over here, you can see through here. But what I wanted to show you guys today, and I just drove this unit, what I wanted to show you guys is kind of, if you're looking at one of these or a Defender or a Ranger. Now, a lot of people, I'm gonna go ahead and get this out of the way. A lot of people are wanting to compare this to an Expedition, a General, an R-Max, things of that nature. This is gonna be an okay trail machine, but like I've said in other videos, for one, you'd have to get the model with 30-inch tires. This has 27-inch tires on it. Now, this can obviously take a lot bigger tire. You can see the fender well here, how spacious it is. And you have a lot less trouble out of the rear than you do the front. Although, if you go very big, you'll probably rub on this here. I just see that in there. But the thing that they didn't do, and a lot of it's going to throw you guys off, but if you look at this, it's a non-piggyback shock. So that's what comes on the Ranger, any of these. You can see here. Now, I will tell you that this shock on this Ridgeline is a little bit longer than what we've seen on something like the Polaris Ranger, the Defender, a Mule, things of that nature. But if you look here at this Expedition, this is what I've been trying to show you guys. So this has a piggyback with a dual stage spring. So you've got a little spring up top, you've got an adjustable piggyback shock here, and a bypass. So this suspension on this, if you're hitting rough bumps, you've got a two-stage spring, a soft one at the top, a harder one at the bottom, and then you can adjust how fast that inside of the oil can bypass and things like that in this reservoir, because it can kick the fluid from inside the shock over to the reservoir. You can adjust them up here and in the rear. Now, another thing, this has about 13 inches of wheel travel in the front and about 10 in the rear. Usually you want more suspension travel, in your rear, so when your front gets crazy, your back can stabilize you and not buck at the same time your front does. But anyway, what I'm saying is this is more comparable, this Ridge is way more comparable to a Polaris Ranger or a Defender. And so I want to show you guys the interior on this, show you some of the things I like. I do like this digital dash. This and the steering wheel, I like the color scheme in here. This little box here is pretty nice. You've got two over here. They're very little as far as these. And then you've got this down here. Your winch comes with a remote in this. This has this dash in it, and I'll kind of show you guys. You've got a two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, and a front locker. So you can see it here, it says lock. You've got different power modes. This is set up, you know, to where you don't have park on this. So you pull it to neutral and then you pull your parking brake on here. I like having the parking brake, but I also don't like that it doesn't have park in the shift. I like the Defender set up the best on this, where it has the parking brake on the column, but you've still got park in the transmission. But you can see here, you've got this digital dash. It's a really nice looking dash. Shows your four-wheel drive up top, all the stuff that you can want to see. It's not touchscreen or anything, but you can select all your different modes over here. This has more horsepower than the Defender or the Ranger, but it seemed when I was driving it that it was geared really low in low. I didn't drive it high because obviously I'm in a parking lot. But if I show you the dash in one of these, this Ranger, you know, all of these have the same instrument cluster as Expedition. It's not near as nice as what's in that Ridge over there. And this is a much cheaper model, but these seats are still nice. I would say, you know, if it was, as far as the seats, the one up that the Ridge has over this Polaris is these does not have the cup holders that flip down, but you do have them here. And then you've got your four-wheel drive and stuff in this. But on these, like I said, you know, the Polaris, the Ridge, and the Defender, this is where I think this Ridge, the only thing that really sets it apart in comparison to something like this is the little bit of suspension advantage and then the horsepower that you get from a unit like this in comparison to the 80-some horse. This is 100, you know, around 100 horse. This is around 80 horse. So you're getting a lot more horsepower with the Ridge. Now, how that's going to translate, like I was telling you guys, when you're looking at these and you're looking at the suspension and stuff, the thing that you're going to have to know is, you know, you can't drive a unit with shocks like that, just regular shocks, extremely fast on rough terrain. It just doesn't work. You know, it bounces you around. You feel every bump. You feel it in the cab. Whereas something like an Expedition, you've got so much more suspension travel, and then you've also got piggyback shocks. If they did a model like this with the piggybacks and the full cab, I think that would be a good start for them to compete. What they did with this, it's almost like they threw this and tried to go in between a Ranger and like a Commander or a Expedition or a General. But then they just didn't give it the suspension to go with it. They gave it the horsepower to kind of appeal to people. But like I was saying, for a lot of you guys, if you're just looking at the horsepower, it's only going to be usable on really flat surfaces, because it's not like you're needing a ton more horsepower when you're going slow. So at higher speeds, keeping up with things like Razors and Expeditions in the woods, you know, this is going to be a rougher riding machine. So I just want to show you guys that. This is a really nice unit. I do like it, but I think a lot of you guys are confused on where it sits at. It's got an absolutely beautiful motor in it. I mean, that's impressive looking. I love that they give it more horsepower. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to downplay it. I just don't want people being confused on where this sits at and where it's going to be in the industry, because you've still got a really big bed, which is nice. This is going to be for you farm boys that want more horsepower. I think if I was looking at this, I was looking at the Defender and I was looking at, you know, the Ranger, it would really come down to what I was looking at doing. If I was looking at, you know, woods riding, this would appeal to me if I could put 30 or 32s on it. If I couldn't go past that, you know, if I couldn't go past a 30, then I would look more towards a Defender. But I think that this will be close to fitting 32s. I think it'll be really close. Like I said, I don't know In the rear, like if you did a Rockzilla that was real wide on here and you brought it all the way up, because if you look here, you can see that box in the front right there. This panel sticks out almost right beside the tire. And things like Rockzillas have big cleats on the side. So when you put something bigger than a 27 on this tire, it's going to be extremely close to rubbing this right here. So I don't know. Like I said, that's something for you guys to keep in mind. Like I said, the unit's extremely nice. You can deck these out. But hopefully this helps a lot of you guys, gives you some info. If you're looking for any of these, they've got this at Rex's Cycle Shop. And you can pick this up. They've got a sale on it for $500 off. So I think it's $23.5 for this unit. This is the, like I said, I think it's the Texas edition. It comes with your winch, nicer seats, ranch edition. And then, like I said, you've got the digital dash, things like that. It's just a nice unit. So I'll let you guys see. So, you know, to get your parking brake off, you pull this out and let it down. You can see there, it kind of shifts in. That's a little weird to me. I mean, it's okay, but, and then you can go to low here. You've got different power modes: sport, normal, work. I'm gonna drive it around and work in this area. Well, I'll drive it normal, but I'll show you here. It just, I mean, in low, it's geared to the ground. Probably worse than the Expedition. But if you put 30s on here or 32s on here, it would be a whole lot better than what it is like this. It's pretty quiet though. I mean, I can't say that I feel like it's extremely loud. They've got it mufflered well. I like the wheels on it and stuff. But it's definitely not got the suspension. I mean, just right there over that little concrete thing was very jarring. Show you guys. Pull the suspension out. Drop my phone. I'll clip it out. But anyway, like I said, the suspension on these, you guys that are thinking this is like a sporty edition, it's just not. As you know, the suspension stuff on it isn't a piggyback setup, and it to get compression in there, it's going to jar you on big bumps. But nice unit, and you guys will like it. Like I said, go test one, see what you think.